This is Henares making your day with part 7 of Philippine history, chapter The Spanish Friar. The Filipino people from time to time attempted to cast off the Chinese traders, but it has been the struggle of the mythical Lao Kun, who together with 2 sons was embraced to death by serpents. W. Cameron Forbes, the American Governor General from 1909 to 1913, for whom the Forbes Park is named in Makati, expelled them by the thousands by virtue of no power whatsoever legally vested in him. But they came as a huge trade developed between the U.S. and the Philippines. Their Philippine commercial empires are vast, how vast no one really knows, for their natural proclivity to remain off the skyline is enhanced by the desirability of doing so. The Filipinos do not like them, at times detest them. But far more than the brass and obvious American trade penetrations, the Chinese are really the more intelligent imperialists in the Philippines. The Spanish history of the Philippines begins and ends with the Spanish friar, the Spanish priest. He was the most dangerous of men, combining great power with a sense of devotion to his mission, a self-justified ruler of bodies and governor of souls. The Spanish friar was the true explorer and conqueror of the Philippine archipelago, and by the time of Rizal, the real representative of the Spanish crown. But he must be treated with understanding, unlike the English district officer in India, or the Dutch overseer in Java, Indonesia, or the American carpetbagger in contemporary Philippines. The Spanish friar did not, indeed could not, raise the color barrier between himself and the Filipinos. He was a missionary in the service of God, who seek the natives out and care for their souls. Nor must he, though he sometimes did, refresh himself with the pleasures of the world, possess a Filipina mistress, or accumulate a fortune to retire on, for he had taken vows against the way of the flesh, from which there is no holiday or retirement. More about this after these messages. This is Henares making your day with part 7 of Spanish history that I wrote. Chapter, The Spanish Friar. Above all, the Spanish friar was lonely. A Spaniard 2 oceans away from Spain. A man of culture, deprived of culture and books. A monk without a monastery. A hermit in the center of society who can cry scandal if he sometimes sinned. But to the end, he was a Spaniard. The friar had won the Philippines for Spain, as the American soldier and carpetbagger won the Philippines for America. Like the soldier and the carpetbagger, the Spanish friar would defend his conquests against heretics, liberals, progressive intellectuals, nationalists, or whatever they chose to call themselves, who would change the status quo. Like the present-day American McCarthyist, the Spanish friar would search out the intellectuals and nationalists. He would censor and proscribe their books, denounce them with words of self-appointed wisdom, rig their elections, store their treasure abroad, bribe their officials, and retain the best lawyers to defeat them in their own courts. He would discover and betray and frustrate their conspiracies. He would find and fight them wherever they are. In schools, in shops, in factories, in Malacanang itself. As the carpetbagger is the most patriotic of all Americans, the friar would be a loyal Spaniard to the very end, even if he were to be the last Spaniard in the Philippines. The last Spaniard then became the great antagonist of the first Filipino, Dr. Jose Rizal. On this theme, Leon Maria Guerrero has woven the latest and undoubtedly the best biography of the national hero of the Philippines, Dr. Jose Rizal, in a book entitled The First Filipino, which awarded first prize in a contest sponsored by the Jose Rizal Centennial Commission in 1961. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Larry Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, hasta la bye-bye.